All right, we're diving into a really fascinating research report today all about AI transformation. And what it reveals is pretty stark. When a company adopts AI, it really comes down to one single fundamental choice: profit or people. So what are we looking at here? Well, this is a deep dive into a really comprehensive 10-part report from a group called Virtualization Options LLC. And they explore two totally different paths a company can take with AI. You've got one path that's all about shareholder value. Think cost-cutting, efficiency, the bottom line. And then you have this other path, which is completely focused on customer value. We're going to walk through the highlights from all 10 chapters to see exactly where these two roads lead. And trust me, they end up in very different places. Okay, to make sense of all this, we've broken the report down into 4 main parts. First, we'll look at the 2 big AI philosophies. Then we'll see the impact this has inside the organization. After that, we'll check out the customer and financial results. And finally, we'll wrap up with some real-world case studies and recommendations. Let's get to it. All right, Section 1. This is where it all begins, covering the first couple of chapters of the report. We're talking about the 2 competing mindsets. And you've got to understand, this isn't just about what software you buy. It's a fundamental, philosophical choice that's going to shape everything that follows. So here it is, laid out plain and simple. The 2 paths couldn't be more different, right? On one side, you have the shareholder value focus. Their main goal? Maximize returns for investors, usually by cutting costs. For them, AI is a tool for automation, a way to replace human workers. And how do they measure success? Purely by the numbers, by the financial metrics. Then you flip to the other side, customer value. Here the goal is totally different. It's about building real, lasting relationships with customers. AI isn't about replacement, it's about augmentation, making their human employees better at their jobs. And success? That's measured by things like customer satisfaction and retention. It's a night and day difference.
So, that's the philosophy. But what does it actually look like inside a company? How does this big choice ripple through everything? Well, this next part, which covers chapters 3 through 6 of the report, gets right into it, from budgets to job security.
Okay, check this out. When a company is focused on shareholder value, you can see exactly where the money goes. A whopping 75%, 3/4 of the entire AI budget, is spent on just buying the technology. It's a clear signal, right? They're buying tools, plain and simple, tools to automate. But now, let's look at the customer-focused companies. It's a completely different story. Technology spending is way down at 45%. And where's that money going instead? Look at that, 35% on workforce development. That's more than double what the other guys are spending. Because for them, it's not just about the tools. It's about investing in their people to make them better at using those tools. They're building skills, not just buying software. And that focus on automation? Well, it has a very real, very human cost. The report found that in these shareholder-focused transformations, on average, 18% of the workforce was let go over 3 years. Think about that. That's nearly 1 in 5 employees. And in the customer-focused companies, a tiny 3% reduction. Just 3%. I mean, that is a 6-fold difference. It's not that there are no changes, but it shows a completely different mindset. They're retraining and finding new roles for their people, not just showing them the door.
So the report really nails the cultural impact with this quote. It says, the psychological contract shifts from one of mutual investment to a more transactional relationship where employment continues only as long as human labor remains more cost-effective than automation. What does that really mean? It means the whole relationship changes. It goes from being a partnership, a we're in this together kind of thing, to something purely transactional. You're no longer seen as an asset to invest in, you're just a line item, a cost that can be replaced by a machine.
Okay, so we've seen the impact inside the company. Now let's look outside. This section covers chapters 7 and 8, and it's all about the results. How does this internal choice affect customers? And, the big question, what does it do to the bottom line? Wow, the impact on customer loyalty is just stark. So Net Promoter Score, or NPS, is basically a simple measure of how much your customers love you, how likely they are to recommend you. The customer-focused companies score a 67. That's fantastic. People are actively telling their friends about them. The shareholder-focused companies, they're at a 23. That's not great. It's barely positive. It's so clear that customers can absolutely feel the difference in strategy. Okay, this timeline tells such a compelling story. At first, in year 1, the shareholder approach looks great. Margins are up because of all that cost-cutting. It's a quick win. But look what happens. It peaks around year 3 and then starts to fall. All those unhappy customers and demoralized employees start to catch up. Meanwhile, the customer-focused path takes a hit at first. It's an investment, right? But then it recovers, and by year 5, it's not just caught up, it's surpassed the other path and is still climbing. It's the classic short-term gain versus long-term, sustainable success.
So, this isn't all just theory and charts. The final 2 chapters of the report get into the real world with some powerful case studies and some solid advice. Let's see what we can learn from them.
Here's a perfect example. A retail bank went all in on the shareholder-first cost-cutting model. And for a little while, Wall Street loved it. The stock price popped. But then reality hit. Customer service tanked, morale collapsed, and get this, they saw a 75% increase in customers leaving the bank. All those initial gains were completely erased, and their brand was left in tatters.
Now let's look at the flip side. A healthcare system that took the customer, or in this case, patient-focused route. They used AI to help their doctors and nurses to augment their skills. Yeah, there was some financial pressure at the beginning to pay for that investment, but in the long run, their absolute profit grew by 32%. Why? Because patients were getting better care, they were happier, and employees wanted to work there. It created a powerful positive cycle.
So the big question is, does it have to be all or nothing? The report actually suggests a smart, balanced approach. It's a 3-step process. Step 1, start with the foundation. Go after those easy efficiency wins that don't hurt the customer. Then, and this is the key part, step 2, take the money you saved and reinvest it into enhancing the experience. Deploy AI to improve service. And step 3 is to just keep that cycle going. It's a way to fund a long-term customer strategy with short-term wins.
So what's the final word from the report? Well, it boils down to these 4 things. First, be deliberate. Know which path you're choosing and why. Second, think long-term. Don't get seduced by quick profits that aren't sustainable. Third, and this is so important, invest in your people. They're not a cost to be cut, they're your biggest asset. And finally, stick with it. Whichever path you pick, be consistent, because the effects, good or bad, are just going to compound over time.
And that really brings us to the core message of this whole report. AI isn't just some software you install and forget about. It's a mirror. It forces a choice that reflects what your organization truly values. It's about what kind of company you want to build and what kind of impact you want to have. So the question isn't if you'll use AI, but how. Which path will you choose to build?